All right, welcome to the Rap Thought Podcast with Matt and Brandon. And today we're going to be talking about Shabazz Palace's Lese Majesty.
Lese Majesty, which is the insulting of a monarch or other ruler, which is treason. I had to look that up. I was curious about it.
Yeah, so with the album title, what did that mean to you? Or were you interested in that, what that title meant?
Yeah,
going into this album?
I would say that the interest comes from another language, French.
Yeah, it's French. It's a French term.
So, I'm always curious with the album title, what it has to do with the album that I'm about to listen to. So that definitely played a little bit of a role going forward in what I'm listening for the songs.
Right.
But when I looked at with that title and then with some of the tracks are going into, it goes into a little bit of like Egyptian cultures,
right?
African cultures. I get a lot of like black empowerment out of this album, so kind of it made me think of what the status quo is now, overthrowing that and laying out a new regime kind of thing. That's what I got out of that.
Yeah,
I don't know if that's too far into reading. What did you get?
From that title, I was like, okay, this makes me, before this album came out, because I was a huge Shabazz Palace's fan before this album was released, so I was anticipating it. And when they announced the album title, like you, I didn't know what that meant, so I looked it up. And I just thought that was a really interesting concept to apply to an album. And I was interested to see what they were overthrowing or what they were rebelling against. Who was holding the throne. Obviously it's not literal. It's not like they're going against the government or something like that. So that caught my attention. But yeah, let's talk about Shabazz Palace's real quick.
Yeah, I looked at...
There's a lot of history with this group and the members in this group.
Yeah, I remember you grabbed me an album, what was it, Black Up from 2011.
Yeah.
And so I remember...
I almost wanted to do that album too. I was going back and forth between Lese Majesty and Black Up. At the end of the day, I put this album on there because it had more of an impact on me. And like I said before, a lot of that has to do with listening to the album when it comes out. I listened to Black Up afterwards, not in the moment. So I was a little bit late to that album.
So, a little bit about this group, hip-hop duo out of Seattle. I thought that's cool. I went to Seattle last year, and just the history that it has. It had an underground city in that, in Seattle. And it was built up because of the water and flooding out. But yeah, I don't know. They're coming out of Seattle. That's pretty cool. I can't name any other artists out of Seattle.
That's a really interesting thing too. Is what hip hop groups or artists are coming out of Seattle. I think the only one that really has gotten a name for himself is Jake One. I'm pretty sure he's from Seattle.
Okay,
but he's a producer.
Yeah, and with that said, I can't name any off the top of my head. I'm sure.
But did you look into Ishmael Butler and where he comes from with Diggable Planets?
I saw that.
Yeah.
Formerly Butterfly from Diggable Planets.
Exactly. So I love Diggable Planets, especially in high school, digging into 90s hip hop. They're kind of the quintessential 90s jazz hip hop group. Even though back then it became, in the mid-90s, jazz rap became a little cheesy and kind of looked down upon.
I think it was aging out.
It was aging out, but artists were moving away from that sound.
Yeah.
And Diggable Planets, to me, were the pinnacle of that sound. They did it the best. Their two albums are amazing. And I always gravitated towards Diggable Planets, and I loved Ishmael Butler's voice. I think he has one of the most distinct and recognizable voices in hip hop.
I think